What's up, boys? We're at the range right now with the Glock conversion slide for the Guncrafter Industries 50 GI right here going on. This is my custom cut slide, custom painted, milled it for an RMR. You cannot get it from Guncrafter Industries like this. They don't offer any customizations. It comes very plain, just like a crappy old Glock. But there are places where you can get this custom milling done. This Mac Defense company is amazing. They actually worked with me, did all the slide work that I wanted. I designed this slide work and then they finished it up and just did an incredible job beveling all the edges. Look at that. I mean, they have their logo like everywhere, Mac Defense, but I don't mind. He did such a great job. I wanted this specific nose cut. Look at that. He just did such a great job beveling the nose. Such a good job on this. Look at that. Awesome. So, and then these are the night vision custom sights. I got the blue sight, matched the blue paint. I thought it was pretty sweet. So, I have a love-hate relationship with this slide. I love it, I hate it at the same time. It's kind of crazy. But this is the third frame I've had this gun on, and the second time I've gotten it back from Guncrafter Industries. The very first frame was when I first got the gun, and I wanted to test it out. I didn't even have a Glock 20 yet, so I used my friend's frame. And out of like the 20, 30 rounds we test fired, it ran fine. And we only were shooting like a couple rounds at a time. I was testing my hand loads and their loads and seeing which ones worked, and they all seemed to work fine out of those 20, 30 rounds. But that was just, like I said, initial firing. I bought my own Glock 20, brand new, put the slide on, and it wouldn't run at all. So the rounds kept hitting the trigger bar safety, and they got wedged between that and the chamber and would never chamber around. So I had a problem with that. I sent it back to them. They filed the actual trigger bar safety down, like on the side. They took a few thousandths off, and then it seemed to run okay most of the time. But then I started having problems with it going into battery, and it started stopping like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, like just almost into battery, probably like a 1/4 inch, and then you have to give it like a tap, a pretty hard tap to get it to go back into battery. So I was having that problem, contacted them, and they said send it back again. At that time, I thought maybe it's just this frame. Maybe this frame sucks. It seemed to work on my friends, so I bought another Glock 20 lower, and it worked even worse on this one. So out of the 3 lowers I've had, it worked very poorly on 2 of them and really poorly on this particular one, actually. So what they did was they had me send them the slower that I really wanted this like slide to be on. And so I sent them this one, and this was just the lower I bought, brand new, and we're back at the range. Let's see if it works. I'm gonna do a little bit of grouping right now, / first mag through it. I've had it back for like a couple weeks now and haven't had a chance to shoot, so let's see how it works. I just oiled it up, and let's hope for the best. Well, all those rounds fired fine. Here we go. All these rounds fired fine. Let's go through it. Dude, put some more rounds in it. You know that crazy ex-girlfriend you used to have that caused nothing but problems, but you kept her along way longer than you probably should have because she had an awesome body and she was super fun? That's pretty much what the 50 GI Glock conversion is for me in firearms world. I've never had more of a love-hate relationship with a gun in my life. There's so many things about this 50 GI that I absolutely love and I think is so cool. And I've gone through great lengths, as you probably can see, to customize it and make it my own. And I think it's came out really cool so far. But I have had some issues with it, and it has not been all smooth sailing the whole time. Alright, so let's talk about the caliber here for a second. What exactly is the 50 GI? Well, here's your normal 9mm. Here's 45 Super, which is just plus P plus plus 45 ACP pretty much. And then here's your 50 GI. Now what it is it's a pistol caliber that was invented in order to be carried and used in a regular sized firearm. Most 50 caliber pistols are giant, like the Desert Eagle, the Smith & Wesson 500, stuff like that. They're very big pistols. This is designed to go in a 45 ACP sized gun, namely the 1911 and the Glock 21 sized guns. And as you can see, this is a Glock 21 slide conversion. And obviously it's much bigger than 9mm. The case actually has the exact same size rim as 45 ACP. And then it's just necked up to ½ an inch instead of the 45. They're almost the exact same height. My training ammo is slightly taller because I have a 335 grain bullet, and instead of my defense ammo, which is a 230 grain bullet, but it has that giant cavity which creates awesome expansion. This particular bullet is from Guncrafter Industries themselves. This is a cheapo I got off Midway, just some normal cheap that I can shoot out of here, and it cost me about 70 cents a round to make that the first time. Here you have an array of different calibers. This would be a perfectly mushroomed 9mm next to a 45 Super, which obviously is much larger, much more intense round, and then you have the exact same weight, but this is what the 50 GI does with their Guncrafter Industries bullet. So the performance is fantastic. This is almost 1 inch, and I've had ones that opened up perfectly evenly. You can see this one didn't open up quite as wide as the others, but my friends stole them and I ran out of fruit to shoot to get more. But this is a very typical expansion that you get out of this particular bullet from Guncrafter Industries and this cartridge overall. So there are some pretty awesome benefits to shooting 50 GI, and not only that, it's just super fun. Now, the problem with this ammo is that it's all made by me. And this is where we get into the love-hate relationship with this caliber and this conversion, is the ammo is not readily accessible in any way, shape, or form. If you want a 50 GI, you're going to have to commit to making your own ammo for it. There is no place to buy it except from Guncrafter Industries themselves, and it is astronomically expensive. If you want to buy even their cheapest training ammo, you are looking at a round that's just like this, except it's not hollow point. It is like a flat tip, and it's just regular cheap training ammo, but it costs like $1.80 shipped per round. So it would be hard to find a normal caliber self-defense round that is that expensive, never mind a training round. So it gets pretty intense with how expensive 50 GI can be when you have to buy it from them and you do not reload. So it is an extreme barrier to entry. If you don't reload and you have no interest in getting into it, you cannot buy this caliber, period. It's not economically feasible to have a gun that each round you fire costs $1.80 unless it's a very intense long-range sniper rifle where you only shoot 20 rounds a range session, and even then you only go out a few times a year, right? Pistol rounds, you're going to go through 100, 200, 300 per range visit, and it's just, that's not going to happen. So now, as I said before, this ammo I make myself, and the bullet itself costs about 23 cents per bullet. The case you only can get from Guncrafter Industries, and that is 50 cents per case, plus shipping, whatever that ends up being. Then you have the primer, which is about 3 cents to 4 cents. And then the powder, this particular round has 9.5 grains of blue dot. Now, what does that mean for everybody else? Pretty much this round costs me, the first time I use it, between 75 and 80 something cents, depending upon sales and shipping and stuff that I get. So even then, this is a very expensive, this is like shooting kind of expensive 308 price ammo out of a handgun. So it gets pretty expensive. When you shoot it the second time, obviously the price of the case technically gets halved, and then the third time it gets halved again, etc., etc. And you can use these cases 5, 6, 7, whatever times until they actually get deformed enough where you shouldn't use them anymore. But generally, cases can last a pretty long time. This is a fresh case, never been fired. But yeah, I do collect all these, and it is important because they're 50 cents each. You're going to want to keep these around. So that's like a huge problem with this caliber. Guncrafter Industries really should have put a lot of effort into finding a company, whether it's Remington, Winchester, anybody, to make training ammo for this gun and get it down to even 50 cents or under where you could buy it. And then you could actually start talking about shooting this as, I don't know, couple weekends a year kind of gun instead of never, and not even in the remote possibility of feasible. Alright guys, it seemed to work fine that time. We are here with 5 full magazines. They are 9-round mags, and I have one in the chamber. So we should have a total of 46 rounds we're going to do right now, and we're going to do it all live. We'll see if it runs all 5 mags flawlessly after I got it back, oiled it up, and we'll do a nice 46 round grouping. All right, right now we just have a little 8-inch target. We're shooting. We're gonna start at about 3 yards and then work our way back. Every mag, do a couple steps back till we get out some distance. All right, let's try it out. All right, 10 rounds. So as you can see, I have to pull the mag out. I don't know why Guncrafter Industries does that, but the mags, you have to pull them out. They will not drop free, even with rounds in them. It will not drop free. See, I'm pushing the button that whole time. So those rounds worked. Let's move it back. No failures yet, boys. This is good news. This is good news. Moving on back. We're about 10 yards now. Started at about like 3. Woo. See that flinch? So this is what was going on. See that? It's like a 1/4 of an inch. So it was out of battery that much. Hey, it's still out of battery. It counts. Failure. Okay, so that time it didn't lock back an empty mag. That could have been me, could have been the gun. Not exactly sure. All right. Let's keep it going. 9 more rounds. All right, back to about like 15-ish yards. Alright, so it's not locking back. Might be me, might be the gun. Gotta love those flinches though. This thing kicks a decent amount, so no excuses, but alright guys, last mag. We're gonna go all the way back, try to get to about 20 yards now. Mag in the ground. Let's do this. See if I can get them all in that 8-inch circle. Alright, so we had one real failure, but it was like so small. You know, it's like something's a little bit getting hung up still, but you know, for a novelty gun, it's working decently. I don't think I'd carry it because, I mean, I still am getting failures. I mean, at least once out of 46 rounds, that's way more than a carry gun. Carry gun will never fail in thousands of rounds, so I do love it. It's a love-hate relationship. Let's go check out the target, see what kind of work we did. There's my 46 shot group. It's not bad. We had a couple kind of land low over here, but most of them all right there. So that was all the way out from like 3 up to 20 yards. So it's an accurate gun, despite my friggin' flinching. Hello, but it's an accurate gun. It works decently well now. This frame, it literally couldn't even fire 4 rounds straight without failing before this. So this is a humongous improvement, even though it did fail once. Those failures to lock back could be me. It could be the gun. I'm not positive, but I do have a glove on this hand, you'll notice, because I fucking hate Glocks. They have the worst ergonomics. This friggin' Glock knuckle you get sucks when you're shooting, especially like a heavy round like this that recoils a lot. This is a 335 grain bullet going about 780 to 800 feet per second. So it's cruising, it's going pretty fast, and it's really heavy. There's a decent amount of recoil. Also, on these Glock 20s, my trigger finger, I get a wicked blister after shooting like a couple hundred rounds. Even like 100 rounds I'll get of this thing, because it recoils so much. I'll get like a blister on my trigger finger. So glove it up, baby, glove it up. I'm not ashamed of it. Now, the actual slide itself, I went to a lot of lengths to find someone that would custom design a slide for me, because Guncrafter Industries only has very boring Glock looking slides, and Glocks are ugly as shit. So obviously you're going to want to make your cool 50 caliber look cool. So when it comes to slide milling, the slide is slightly larger in every single dimension to a normal Glock 21 or Glock 20 slide. It does fit in all the same holsters, but as far as machining goes, most companies just use automated milling machines. They don't do anything by hand. And when they do that, if the slide is different, obviously the machine cannot make cuts. So they're going to have to go into CAD and design a whole new program just to cut this specific 50 GI slide, which 99.9% of machinists will not do for you. It is not worth their time to do one-off projects. They don't want to even hear your ideas or talk to you. They'll just dismiss you right away and say they don't do custom work, even though they all say custom slide milling. It's not really custom slide milling, it's just slide-specific milling. That's how milling companies actually are. They're not actually custom. They are simply made for a certain slide, if that means their idea of custom. However, Mac Defense would. And where's his little... There you go. Mac Defense. This guy is awesome. He took my emails, took my ideas, and he sent me different proofs before he actually cut it, and he built the whole CAD design, and this thing came out amazing. He did such a good job. He also did the Cerakote work. This is blue titanium with, what is it? I have black and then a gray, and it just came out so good. Even the texture is almost like kind of rough. It's because of the sandblasted. You can kind of see it there. And it just came out amazing, this color. The slide work was epic. I really wanted this cut on the nose, and he just, look at all these angles that he put into it to make it match. This is just awesome. Obviously, RMR cut. And that's when we'll get into the actual conversion part of the Glock 2021 conversion slide. They say that you just pop it on your Glock 2021 frame and you're good to go. Now, out of 3 frames I tried this slide on, it only worked well on 1. It is not just like a plug and play like you might wish and think. So that is something to be noted. When you get one, make sure you try it out. Try it, buy some of their ammo, even though it's crazy expensive, and make some of your own. Try them both. Make sure that you have your own specs all correct for this round. This round is just so friggin' cool. Out of my self-defense rounds, I get like 650 foot-pounds of energy out of this guy right here, because this thing's traveling at like 1050 to 1100 feet per second, and I actually have phenomenal performance in accuracy with it and expansion, as you guys saw, and it's like a big ass 10 millimeter pretty much, which I absolutely love about the 50 GI. Plus, it's just fucking cool. What are you carrying? Is that like a 9 millimeter? No, it's a 50 caliber. What? Yeah, look at that fucking hole. I just think it's such a cool concept. Mac did such an amazing job on this slide. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And I love that. So this is actually one of my favorite guns in my collection now that I have it working. So, but it was just a nightmare to get it working, mostly. So, and it's a nightmare to keep making the ammo every time you shoot it. So, it's a fun gun, but it's really a novelty. I cannot recommend it to anyone unless you just want a fun novelty gun and you reload. But other than that, you know, it's Guncrafter Industries not supporting their product. That's really what it is. I mean, they're not issuing licenses for their rounds to make it affordable to shoot, and they don't offer any customization on these slides, which is kind of rough. So they don't fit very well on these frames from my experience. You know, I'm 2 out of 3 at best running very poorly, and as I said, it's gone back twice and it's still failing a little bit, and this is oiled to hell right now. Not too much, but I mean, I gave it a decent amount of oil anywhere I thought could catch, and it's still got that little hang up. So can't get it run 100%. They're probably not going to do anything more at this point. When I sent it back, I asked them, what did you guys do to fix it? And the guy never responded. I sent him 3 emails so far in the last like month, and they just don't respond. So he just said they made some adjustments the first time they sent it back, and now he won't respond. So yeah, I can't recommend it. I do love the gun. It's the first gun that I love that I really cannot recommend to people, because it's a headache to get it running. It won't run perfectly on you. The mags don't drop free. There's a lot of quirks with this gun. You have to make your own ammo, and it's still super fucking expensive at like 80 cents a round-ish, give or take. And I gotta go pick up all that brass right now because it's 50 cents a piece right there on the ground hanging over here. So, yeah, you know, what are you gonna do?